right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, well,
Yes.
good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call to order a regular meeting of the San Francisquito Creek Joint Powers Authority, and it's about 3:32. If we could have, today's March 24th. And we could have, if we could have roll call, please.
Director Obrica,
Here.
Director Combs,
Here.
Director Burt,
Here.
Director Kremen.
Here, and sorry, my camera isn't working today.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, we do have a quorum. Our next item is approval of the agenda. If anybody's got any modifications or requests, otherwise entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All right, move in second, and we'll have roll call.
Director Obrica,
Yes?
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Burt,
Yes.
Director Kremen.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Next item is minutes. We do have minutes of January. And so any modifications or questions? If not, then let's do a motion to approve. I'll make a motion to approve. Say what?
Second.
Okay, we'll have roll call.
Director Obrica,
Yes.
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Burt,
Yes.
Director Pine. Oh, not present. Director Kremen.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. The next item, number 4, public comment. So an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board on any topic, issue that is not on the agenda, and just understanding we cannot engage in any lengthy discussions. And Nico, do we have any requests?
I have not received any requests, and we do not have any hands raised at the moment.
Okay. All right, then we'll go into our regular business. And we have consent agenda, number 5. We have our routine by now resolution to dealing with the COVID-19 circumstances, and any request to speak from the public on this item or anybody. So I think we'll have also a motion. Somebody could make a motion.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
I moved in second, roll call.
Director Obrica,
Yes?
Director Combs,
Yes.
Director Burt,
Yes.
Director Kremen. Director Kremen.
No.
Okay,
anybody else?
Director Pine.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Director Pine.
Yes, I just joined, sorry.
All right, so let the record show that board member Pine has joined us too. And our next item is the information item, so the executive director's report. We'll start with that.
Great, thanks everyone, and hope everyone is doing well. This is going to be a fairly succinct report, and as you read in your board packet, there are more details. We have had outstanding success with our ongoing maintenance and restoration project associated with the completed Reach 1 project. We have installed more than 400 gum plants, which are these lovely yellow blooming aster family plants that are important to native species, as well as an important part of our restoration efforts. We'll work on a spring maintenance event here in the next couple of days, and the entire effort continues to meet or exceed its success criteria. So that's very good news. We are keeping our fingers crossed that that same will be true, although increasing temperatures and the drought conditions, we will hope for the best and work for the rest. For Reach 2, the reach between Highway 101 and the Pope Chaucer Bridge our news is that at the beginning of the month, we held a kickoff meeting with Cal OES as part of the HMGP grant for the bridge. That was an important milestone. We, together with our partners at Valley Water, learned about the expectations of Cal OES and FEMA for all of their record keeping, documentation, timesheets, and other kinds of administrative expectations, and how we will be doing the invoicing for reimbursement against that grant. It's not an insignificant level of effort for both of us to conduct that. So it's that kickoff meeting was important for us to learn their expectations and to begin our setup for those processes and systems. The Army Corps of Engineers CAP 205 study continues. Their economic and hydraulic evaluations are underway. That's for the channel widening segments of the Reach 2 project. We will learn in May what the outcome of their economic and hydraulic evaluations are. We are bouncing on our toes, collecting all of our information, and we'll be ready to submit our draft permits in about a week and a half. So in the first week of April, we're getting ready to do the final review and compilation and submit to the Regional Water Quality Control Board. As you probably remember from last time, we need to do outreach to our Creekside property owner project neighbors for permission to enter so that we can continue to do survey work along the top of bank for both channel widening and top of bank structures. And that outreach continues. As you read in your packet, we have about 18 out of 45 permissions to enter received. For further upstream work, we have received a conceptual design that's based on the preliminary information that has been gathered to date, that has been shared with Stanford and reviewed by them, and in a very productive and positive conversation. And we plan to use the information gained and the information exchanged with Stanford to revisit the site and dial in the detailed information, collect additional data, and be able to come up with a feasibility assessment. So the next steps are underway. For the Safer Bay project, we are looking at releasing our notice of preparation in April, coincident hopefully with Birth Week. We have been discussing with project partners, regulatory agencies, and other experts in our consulting team about the best way of packaging both CEQA and NEPA. Instead of doing a combined CEQA-NEPA, we're looking at doing CEQA, but making sure that that entire process and document checks all of, or as many of the boxes that NEPA requires as possible. Having that now sort of very firmly understood and the merits of various pathways determined, we're able to now proceed. A small delay has enabled us to be more efficient as we go forward. We have kind of mixed news on the Measure AA grant front, where we have been happy to have been informed that we have been given a partial award. That partial award is pending formal decision from their board, scheduled for the meeting on June 24th. As you may recall, we had applied for and requested more than $4 million each year over 2 years. Our grant is $1 million total. So we will be working on finding additional funding sources and doing as much as we can with that initial $1 million to progress the programmatic and project level EIR for the Safer Bay project. From an admin and operations standpoint, just a reminder, all of us who must file have our Form 700s due by April 1st. So MECO will be expecting your completed forms. Please, of course, avail yourselves of the assistance at the FPPC website if you need assistance or guidance with that. I want to stress the importance of this also because we are going to be working on the SDLF Certificate of Transparency Excellence for the JPA, and your Form 700s are going to be an important part of that. So moving on. Very quickly, life is short, and I want to make sure we take every opportunity to express gratitude. I just wanted to share that this month it marks Tess Byler's 6th anniversary with the JPA, and we are all, and I am personally very grateful for all that she brings. So that wraps up the director's report. Any questions?
Ruben, we can't hear you if you're saying something.
Sorry, I apologize. I was saying yes. Let's see if we have any questions, then we can also add some comments. But any questions on the material that was presented? I had a question on the late March cleanup. Is there a date? Is this something then has been scheduled already for the creek cleanup?
No, I think that for the late March maintenance activities, that was a Reach One project.
Oh.
And if you want more detailed information about that, I can get back to you about
No, I'm
that.
sorry. Yeah, I misunderstood. Yeah, that's more than just the regular maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they go in and pull weeds and water the things
that's-
that have been planted and,
Yes.
you know, basically
No, I
just
thought
check on
I
the
was
health of
confusing
the-
that with sort of a day of, helping to clean up. Yeah. Apologize.
When those, should those become scheduled, we will make sure that everyone on the board knows that schedule, and if they want to participate, we'll have that opportunity.
Yes. Yes. No, so that was my confusion there. But any other questions on anything else that was in the report? And if not, I think it's in order to make a few comments on Tess. So Tess has been 10 years. Is it 10 years?
6 years. This is the month we mark her 6th anniversary.
Oh, 6 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking 10 today for some reason, but well, definitely Tess, I'll just make a few comments, and then everyone else please jump in. I really felt through the years you're sort of a steady, very, very steady hand person, very thorough, and it's been great to have that throughout these years, and we hope that you'll be with us for many more years. So thank you for your work. I appreciate
Thank you, Director Abrica. I'm just happy to be here and doing my job. That's all. I don't want to make a big deal about it. Thank you.
Oh, I know. I know what you mean, but at the same time, yeah, thank you. And anybody else want to make a comment or? Okay.
I will say on the coworker side, thank you, Tess. We appreciate you. That's it.
Yeah, and I just want to echo Chair Abrica's comments and thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
No, just that. Always appreciate your enthusiasm for the work.
Okay.
Thank you all. It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you. All right. Great. Okay, well, let's go on to our next item, which is the potential draft budget or potential action, I guess. So we're sort of close to final action, but any questions on the budget? And I think there was a small correction that Miko did send us, and I know there's a finance committee also, but
So the Finance Committee has seen this twice and had the first time around asked us several questions. Miko and I went back, sharpened pencils, got more information, added more detail. In your board packet, you will have a item 7A, that's the discussion of the budget by line item. And that will hopefully clarify most elements of the budget. If you have any questions, I'm glad to go through this line by line if for the benefit of the members of the public or others that would be helpful. We can do that. We can walk through the budget memo line by line. and describe what each thing is, if that would be helpful.
Maybe some general comments or highlights, perhaps, not necessarily
Okay,
line by
sure.
line, but it would be good just to do a quick overview. maybe.
Okay,
Chair,
so,
may I make a comment on the last item? I was having some technical
Okay, no.
difficulties.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I very much appreciate Tess being here. One of the things I love about Tess is she has a high level of veracity. I remember a couple meetings ago at the Water District when she surprised us, but told the truth. I wasn't so supportive of this ballot measure. And then she comes in and helps out and gives great feedback on what could have been made better. I was very impressed with that.
All right.
So good things all around for Tess.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Kremen.
Okay, yeah. So, maybe just some highlights on the budget then, and don't have to go.
sure. So there are a couple of top line items. One is, I'm sure that when people look at this budget and they see a 17.5% increase, that looks like a large number. I want to make sure that folks know that part of that is because we're not comparing apples to apples exactly. I'm hoping that Miko can step in here because she is the financial manager and I am just hoping to channel her expertise here. When we approved last year's budget, it was a deficit budget. We were planning on dipping into contingency. So the 17.5% overall increase is predicated on a couple of things. That there's a larger delta from last year, and that there are two fairly significant items on this year's the project elements of this year's budget. The first one being the CAP 205 study and our share of that cost. And the other one, a significant one, is for next year's anticipated top of bank, anticipated supplementary EIR. So there's the long stretch properties along the bank where along Edgewood Drive, where there's an aging satcrete concrete structure at the top of bank. Right now, that's being surveyed. The outcome of that survey will determine whether it's adequate, can be retrofitted, or needs to be replaced. In any case, whatever work needs to be done there is a significant enough addition to the scope of our project that a supplementary EIR will be necessary. Based on input we've received from our colleagues at Valley Water who have done supplementary EIRs, the cost of those is anywhere between $150,000 and $200,000. We have an unspent $50,000 chunk in this year's budget that will roll over to next year as part of that cost. But there's $150,000 that we're asking for that supplementary EIR. So between $143,000 for the CAP 205 study and $150,000 for the supplementary EIR, those are the two largest significant components of the increase. We're also anticipating that the board will have some input. We've recommended a 12.5% increase or 12.5% contribution to reserves. That's the lowest end of our policy guidance. The board may choose to keep that number or reconsider it and use a different number. There are a couple of other caveats about the budget. One significant one is that the CAP 205 study is going through their hydraulic and economic analysis, as I mentioned in my report. The outcome of that economic analysis, we don't think will, but it might indicate that this is in the Army Corps of Engineers framework, not a cost-effective project. If that happens, we have two paths. We have two choices. We can remain in partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers and contribute more toward the project, so their contribution remains cost-effective according to their methodology. Or we can say, thanks, this has been fun, we're not going to dance with you anymore. We're going to go dance with somebody else, and we're going to take advantage of an HMGP grant and potentially other funding that has yet to be identified. So if in May, that economic analysis is determined to be not favorable according to their methodology, and if we, the board and the organization collectively decide that we are not going to go forward with the Army Corps of Engineers, that Cap 205 contribution will no longer be necessary. So there will be a rather wide swing in the budget if that decision comes down. We do anticipate that it will be a cost-effective project, but it's important for the board to know that there is that caveat. I think those are probably the largest or most significant items in the budget. If anybody wants to crack open that memo and ask about anything more specific or more detailed, we're happy to take your questions.
Yes. Yeah, well, let's see if there are any questions on the highlights or anything else. I'm not hearing any requests from the public. Miko, to ask a question or anything?
I have not received any requests and I don't see any hands raised.
All right. Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks for those highlights. And at this point, it'll come back for final approval. Is that correct? Yeah.
We'll bring this back again. We're looking at, we want to make sure we get the information from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So we may be looking at a May approval, perhaps even June.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. So at this point, we have a couple of closed session items. So let me ask again, just see if there are any requests to speak on any of these items by any member of the public, and otherwise we will be taken to the closed session room, I think, right? But I assume no requests.
No, I don't have any requests, and I will create the breakout rooms for the closed session now.
Okay, thank you then. So we'll come back shortly. Oh, so let's see. Okay. Okay, so I think we're all back in open session, I believe. Everybody back in, yeah, okay. Yeah, so we did hold a closed session, and so Teresa, you want to briefly report out then? No, I think.
Sure. On the conference with legal counsel about existing litigation and the matter of the Joshua lawsuit, there's nothing to report. Direction was given to legal counsel on legal strategy.
Yes. And then for our part, there's no reportable action. We held discussions for part B. Okay. And number 9 is opportunity for any board member to have any announcements or requests or share anything. Anybody at this point? Nope.
I'll just say that I was riding along the levee today and was just looking at kind of the rich new natural habitat that was expanded from the Lower Reach project. And it was just nice to see all all the restoration that had occurred as a result.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else? Announcements? Okay, well, hearing no other announcements or reports, then we will adjourn this meeting, and it's approximately 4:28 or something like that. So duly noted. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.